Ohio police said that they've criminally charged the president of an animal rescue organization after discovering 12 deceased dogs at the president's home. Yeah, that's right. This so-called president of an animal rescue organization, which is called Canine Lifeline in Ohio, the president's name is Barbara Whibley, something like that. The president of this animal rescue organization, which I presume receives charitable donations from members of the public in order to protect dogs, perhaps stray dogs, abandoned dogs. A welfare check was performed at her home. Guess what authorities found? That's right, 12 deceased dogs. That would be bad enough, right? But that's just the beginning. 2 weeks ago, on June the 16th, authorities found 146 dead dogs at this president's second residence in Mantua. So this is a woman, Barbara Whibley, something like that, the president of the animal rescue organization called Canine Lifeline. I'm going to say that she presents herself as being an upstanding member of society, a do-gooder, a virtuous individual, running a positive society in the bid to help abandoned, stray, ill dogs, perhaps other types of animals. And all the whilst, she's doing far from actually providing care. She's seemingly housing the dogs in such condition that they die. The dogs have been found in various stages of decomposition. 158 dead dogs. And this woman gets to portray herself as a do-gooder, a rescuer of dogs. This is sick, and she's not the only person like this. I mean, in my brain, I'm being reminded of BLM. Some of you may take offense at what I'm about to refer to, but as far as I understand, I've not looked into it overly closely, but you've got the founders of BLM. Again, women, am I allowed to point that out? Perhaps I'm not, but I just did. Women portraying themselves as virtuous members of society, doing the black community a big favor by encouraging them to burn down the cities that they live in. Sure, there's a little bit of facetiousness going on in my tone, but you know, it's entirely reasonable. And what do we discover down the track? Well, we discover that BLM raked in all of this money, millions of dollars, through its 18 months, 24 months life, however long it lasted, garnered media attention left, right and center, again with this whole virtuous signaling. Oh, look at us, we're protecting the black community by encouraging them to burn down the cities that they live in, by encouraging them to resist arrest and combat the police whichever way they can. Oh, let's receive millions upon millions of dollars from donations worldwide so that we can go out and buy some $1 million properties. I mean, I'm being a little facetious again. I can't remember the full details of BLM, and perhaps I'm muddying the waters on this topic, but my point is that out there in the world, there are these people that present themselves as being upstanding members of the community, take money from members of the public for a so-called virtuous cause. Meanwhile, they're just pocketing the money. They're doing whatever they are doing with the money. We can see the pictures on the video, and this woman seemingly who has 2 residences. How many of you guys have got 2 residences? Perhaps a few of you, but not many, not nowadays. Across the world, living costs are just through the roof, punishing. Yet this virtuous person who was in the possession of 158 deceased dogs in various stages of decomposition was able to afford 2 premises. And let's look at the pictures. Clearly she's a hoarder of some kind. Clearly the dogs were not being housed in a healthy way. They were being taken home and perhaps starved. I'm guessing perhaps they weren't starved, but seemingly they weren't being treated adequately, not to have 158 of them dead. So a welfare check was performed at this president's home. Her name Barbara Whibley, something like that. The authorities found 12 dead dogs and 24 dogs that were found alive, but 2 of those dogs had to be euthanized. And the poor little woman, the poor little president of the animal rescue organization called Canine Lifeline, collapsed. Oh no, oh, I'm ill, oh. Collapsed. Had to be taken to hospital. She's still in hospital. Fakery. That's my take on it. Fakery. Just an unwillingness to face reality, to take ownership of the situation that she has no doubt caused. How can she plead ignorance? She's got 158 dead dogs across 2 of her properties. She can't get away with this. Yep, that's what she's going to try to do. Oh, I'm suffering some medical emergency. Oh, I've got to stay in hospital. Oh, please be kind to me. I'm only a silly little woman. I'm not a misogynist, by the way, but I do feel that in some certain situations, women do lean on the fact that they're women in order to get leniency. And that's my read on this situation. This woman has presented herself as being a virtuous person, saving dogs, rescuing dogs, when the reality is she's been housing them in conditions that have led to their deaths. That's not a virtuous person. And she is confident that if she just acts like a weak individual, that she'll get leniency. She's probably right. She probably will be given leniency. She'll probably get a fine, be banned from dog ownership. The organization Canine Lifeline will probably be closed, and that will probably be a good thing. The investigation is still ongoing. We're told that necropsies will be performed to ascertain the dog's cause of death. So I've not come across that word before, necropsies. So I guess an examination, an autopsy of the deceased dogs, at least some of them. So at this stage, it's not known how the dogs died, but I mean, seemingly through neglect of one kind or another. The president, Barbara Whibley, has been charged with animal cruelty, and I personally hope that she gets locked up. I personally hope that a very thorough investigation is put in place in regards to the whole Canine Lifeline organization. Presumably there are other workers or volunteers within the organization. Perhaps those other people are entirely innocent. Perhaps they're entirely ignorant of the wrongdoings of the president. But there needs to be an adequate investigation. If the other people knew or ought to have known about the mistreatment that these dogs were receiving, then perhaps they ought to face punishment too. This is not acceptable to have 158 dead dogs. Unacceptable. And it's not acceptable to run what I believe and assume is a charitable organization to garner money from the members of the public just to misuse those funds to afford oneself 2 houses and not pay for adequate treatment of the canines that they are attempting to rescue. There's my video. I've gone on a bit of a ramble. I am angered by this. I don't own dogs. I do love dogs. I've recently rescued 2 cats, and it's not easy. It takes time, it takes effort, and it costs money to keep pets. I just feel that the world could be a better place if we're a little bit kinder, just generally speaking, and if we're a little bit less fake. I'm not a fake person. I never will be. And I think I'm getting increasingly angry by those people that are fake, inauthentic, especially when they garner too much rewards from society. And that's seemingly what's happened here. This banshee, Barbara Whibley, has portrayed herself as being a good person, received funds left, right, and centre from members of the public, and those funds could have gone elsewhere. So I'll wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.